Welcome back to Classical Christian Thought. I'm your host, Eric Ibarra. For those of you who have watched me for some time, will notice a couple of differences. Number one, I've got a new backdrop. Number two, I've got a new custom wooden design logo, Classical Christian Thought, right there behind me. But also, you might notice another new thing that I have very good quality picture for the first time. I'm working with high def resolution, and so that's thanks to my wife, who's a professional photographer. She's been seeing me work for 5 years now with built-in webcams and laptops and really cheap webcams that you put on the corner of your screen. And I've not really put any concerted effort into enhancing the picture and the graphics and the background of my YouTube channel or my Patreon. And so, with her assistance, she's helped me quite a bit. So, I hope you can appreciate the new change there. I've always been so focused on content and presentations and PowerPoints and lectures and things like that. And I just not I haven't valued enough the way that things get presented and packaged for viewers and listeners around the world. So but here we are. I think that we've done a good job in upgrading things here. But as you guys know, I'm all about the content, and so that's why I have this video presentation today, is because I have new content that's being offered on my Patreon as well as on the free YouTube channel, Classical Christian Thought. And I just wanted to let those of you who are my subscribers on YouTube and those of you who are already patrons to have like a short video like this to describe everything that is being offered in the Patreon as well as the YouTube channel. Um, and instead of having to read through the tiers and trying to figure out what's what, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what you get from tier one all the way to tier four. Um, and let's start by sharing my screen here. Okay. All right. So those of you who can see the screen, follow along here. We're going to start with the very first tier, level one patrons. This is what you get access to for $5 a month. First thing is exclusive articles on subjects related to theology, history, apologetics, and current news. If you're already following me on Facebook or in my YouTube community, you know that I do tend to write things, especially when new things come up. But I also write uh, articles regularly, and some of them just stay saved on my hard drive, and they're not published. Some folks have always wondered, like, I'll submit an article, and then the next day another one, and both of them are like 3,000 words long, and they're thinking, man, when do you get the time to do this? Well, some of those have just been saved, and it just took time for me to edit and then share. So I'm going to scroll down here on my Patreon so you can kind of see as an example. So here's one example of a short, small article. Saint Augustine. What does Paul mean by being under the law in Augustine's thought? Another one would be Saint John Chrysostom on the intercessory power of the saints. Saint Ignatius of Antioch. Another one here, Saint Ambrose of Milan on the change of bread and wine in Holy Mass. Another one here, Pope Saint Gregory II on the veneration of icons and the intercession of the saints. So you can see I regularly post articles on the Patreon. So for those of you who are tier level one, $5 a month, you'll get access to those. The second thing you'll get access to is a free ebook, uh, the lifetime reading list for being mastered by classical Christian thought. So this is a 30-page long ebook with just a list of recommended books. Um, those of you who are, wondering what you should read for this or that subject, this This list is so comprehensive. It gathers the wisdom of antiquity, the scholarship of antiquity, all the way up through the Middle Ages to the scholastics into modernity. And the modern contemporary scholarship that I recommend you read, it's got such a worth that it'll probably stand tall for another 5, 6 decades. So it's literally a lifetime reading list. And I have a beginner's list to begin with. So if you're brand new to historical theology, biblical studies, the church fathers, councils, Catholicism, church history, I have a beginner's list for you. And then those who are moving into the next stage where they want to become an expert, literally being mastered by classical Christian thought. And by classical Christian thought, some people, wonder, why do you call it classical Christian thought? Because my interests are really covering the whole horizon of just Christianity across the centuries. And so that's going to encompass Catholic history. It's going to encompass Eastern Orthodoxy, the other Eastern churches that we often forget about, but are just as lively and universal around the globe, that is. And, Syriac, Coptic, Ethiopic Christianity, but also Reformation, Protestantism, evangelicalism, just Christian thought as it moved from late antiquity, coming out of the Greco-Roman world into the spread of the baptism of the Roman Empire into the Middle Ages, all the way up to the Enlightenment, post-Enlightenment, modernity, and just the philosophy and theology of Christian thought. It's just I'm interested in all of it, really. So that's why um, a great title for a YouTube channel is like Reason in Theology. Um, so I wanted to, I picked something very close to that classical Christian thought. So this reading list, the second reading list, is going to really just lead you into an expert level in whatever aspect of Christian theology you're looking to master. And that goes for, like I said, everything to linguistics, to philosophy, theology, biblical studies, typology, church fathers, papacy, sacramentology, eschatology, you name it. It's all in there. And all of these books are just 10, I mean, 10 out of 10. They're all great. So I recommend you take advantage of that. Free ebook on the $5 tier. The second or the third benefit of the first tier is regular wisdom and quotations from the church fathers. So this is almost a daily thing for me where I post a quotation from the church fathers of the East and the West. Not ones that are easy to find either. Not ones that are usually translated into English. Um, so this is, you know, it's rich hagiographic value to those of you who are looking to be edified by the patristics. So that's what you get with the tier one uh, benefits. Tier two, moving on, you get everything in tier one. So everything I just said, and then on top of that, there are three things. So the next thing would be access to bi-weekly book club and or the recordings. So right now, every other Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have a CCT book club, Classical Christian Thought Book Club. We're currently going through Dr. Faingold's, let's see if I can get the resolution on this. There we go. Faith Comes from What is Heard, an introduction to fundamental theology by Dr. Lawrence Faingold. Um, he's a Catholic theologian, and this is just a book introducing you to the sources and foundations of Catholic theology. It's just one of my favorite books. If you're looking to become an expert in the fundamentals of Catholic theology, what it is, how it's done, and how you can begin to do it even on a lay level, this is the book you want. So I chose this one as my first book to go through in my book club. We're currently right now a little bit more than halfway. I'm so proud we stuck it out this far. I mean, this book is, let's see, it's almost 700 pages, um, and we've gone through 11 chapters, and it's great. We get, this is tier two, so for $10, every other Wednesday you get to join a community. I give a link. You can come in. You could show your face. You don't have to show your face. You could put some other icon up there, and if you want to talk, you can talk. There's a chat box, so if you don't want to be seen, you don't want to be talk, you don't want to talk, you can just put in your questions in the chat, and I interact with it as we go through the book club. We go through a series of questions, and then people make comments, people pitch in their thoughts, even agreements, disagreements with Fangold, and then at the end we open it up for a general Q&A. So it's pretty cool. I enjoy it every time. So let's get back to the screen here. All right, so you have that on the $10 tier. You also get a free ebook, Why Every Protestant Must Believe in Transubstantiation. So I wrote this not just for your like symbolist, memorialist, Eucharistic view of like the evangelicals and the Baptists, but it's actually even more geared towards the like the classical confessional Protestant, high church, Lutheran, Anglican, Presbyterian who's trying to, just be that one notch under Rome. So it's not Rome, but it's really tied and rooted into the ancient and even the scholastic past. So this book is actually written to show why those modified theologies that avoid transubstantiation are not um, in harmony with the best of the Christian sources that we have in the Bible or the Church Fathers. So I recommend that book for those of you who would be interested in that. I think if you're a Protestant, it is definitely be really good for you to read. I've had good reviews from Protestants. It at least gets them thinking. Um, and then it's also going to equip you as a Catholic or even an Eastern Orthodox or an Oriental Orthodox. All right. The next thing is answers to questions sent to me via private message within 24 hours. So I do get a lot of questions being sent my way. And yeah, I had somebody recently ask me, "Do you feel like like an IT guy when it comes to like Catholicism and theology?" And I thought to myself, that is kind of how it is sometimes. It's like if we had a ticketing system, it might be well better ordered for me. But those of you who have sent me messages or emails with questions and sometimes long questions, sometimes I can't get to them. I just don't have time. But if you become a $10 subscriber, then I'm here committed to this mutual benefit, and I will answer your questions within 24 hours on this. This is tier number 2. Yeah. All right. So that's what you get with tier 2 for $10 a month. All right. Let's move over to level 3, $20 a month. Again, everything in tier 1, everything in tier 2. And then you get, let's see, show more. 1, 2, 3, 4 things in addition. The first thing is you get a free new ebook called The Roots of the Papacy, the Patristic Logic. And excuse me. This is it's about 50 or 60 pages. Some people might wonder, well, Eric, you wrote a very large book with Emmaus, with St. Paul Center for Biblical Theology. What are you doing writing another 60-page book? Well, it's got a different goal. So as those of you who have read the larger 800-page tome on the papacy, you'll know that was geared towards looking at the Byzantine objections, the Eastern Orthodox objections to the papacy. So from the beginning all the way to the end, it's just um, uh, just a tour through the first millennium, and then also picking up on epistemological issues between Catholicism and Orthodox theologies, as well as looking at the respective paradigms of how one does theology from an Orthodox point of view, how one does theology from a Catholic view, issues related to the development of doctrine, things like that come up in that book, right? So it's just it's really geared towards that. This book, small 50, 60 page book, is just answering the question where the origins of the papacy, where does it start in concept? And the subtitle is the patristic logic. So what was the rationale of early Christians about this institution that we call the papacy? Did they even believe it? Did they argue for it on terms that are essential, accidental, um, sort of historical accidents, or is it something essential to the church? So that's what this ebook is going to be addressing, and I think it'll be very interesting for pretty much everybody. It's a very easy read, and I think that you guys will enjoy it. So that's the first extra benefit on tier three, $20 a month. You get that ebook, including, like I said, the other ebooks with the previous two tiers. Um, so the next thing is you get full access to a brand new ebook library, which will hold the current ebooks, but be added with time on various subjects. So in other words, with this tier three subscription, um, I'm going to have basically a library of ebooks that I'll just keep adding books to, because I've got lots of things written, and they can just be um, sort of drop a conclusion on them and turn a lot of these things into ebooks. And so that'll be like regular, and you can just get new ebooks all the time. And so, for example, those of you who are already patrons, you'll know I did a whole course on Pope Honorius, right? I think it's like a 12-hour course. Um, well, I plan on sort of taking all of that and making an ebook out of it. So taking everything I've said, all the sources, putting it into a text, and then making an ebook out of it. So that would be available to tier three subscribers. I also plan on writing an ebook. So some of the forthcoming ideas I've got is on Pope Vigilius. So I really wanted to do something on Honorius. I got that out of the way. Everything you want to know about that situation, it's there. You could, in fact, as you'll see, you'll have access to the course itself. But ebooks will be nice for those of you who like to read. You want to see the sources yourselves. You want to look at footnotes, things like that. I'm going to do the same thing with Pope Vigilius, and I also plan on doing some work on the penal substitution, and some works on divorce and remarriage and the church fathers. So I've got a lot of ideas. So if you're looking for ebooks, this is the place to go and on these subjects. All right, so the next thing is exclusive access to all courses, lectures, and video presentations, all past and forthcoming, will become reserved for Tier 3 beginning on January 1st, 2024. So this is all taking effect on January 1st. But if you're a Tier 3 subscriber, you'll have access to all of my video presentations that are exclusive. So you'll have access to the Honorius course. You'll have access to the Vigilius course I'm going to be doing shortly, which will also be about 10 hours long. It'll be broken up into lessons, 30 to 35-minute long segments. So don't worry, it's not going to be all at once. All right, and the last thing is access to PowerPoint and notes for all video lecture presentations. So if you want to see my notes, you want to see my PowerPoints, the slides, you'll have access to that. All right, the final tier, level 4 for $50 a month. You get everything in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So everything I just said. But on top of that, let's go show more. You get 1 hour phone call per month. Time can vary depending on the subject and the person, and just things factor in and make these things conditional. But I generally aim for 1 hour, 1 hour phone call per month, and I've got a few guys that are doing that now. It's actually several now, and they're just spectacular. We have a blast on the phone. It's really great. If you want to do Zoom, we could do Zoom. We could do video chat, whatever you'd like. Um, and then the next thing is top priority for recommendations for my articles, presentations, and exclusive interviews. So if you are a tier 4 patron, you have top priority with suggestions, recommendations. If you want me to interview somebody, if you want me to write about something, you want me to do a video presentation on something, um, I will commit your request to high priority. So yeah, that's what's available right now. Well, it's going to be effective January 1st, 2024. But I mean, my Patreon's open, so you can come in now. All of these tiers are available now, and all the benefits are available. But in this exact order, it's effective in January 1st. So all right, so I'll go ahead and remove that from the page. All right, so what else do I got here? Okay, my general schedule for those of you who are patrons, and also for just those of you who are subscribed to me on CCT YouTube. Mondays, I'll generally have a new article out published. That's an exclusive article. What I write on Facebook, what I write on YouTube community, what I write possibly on a forthcoming Substack, that's free. And I also share all that content on my Patreon as well. But I will have an exclusive article generally every Monday. On Wednesdays, this is going to be for just the YouTube, CCT YouTube. Wednesdays, every other Wednesday. So when I'm not doing the book club, so the Wednesday in between the bi-weekly book club, I plan on doing some sort of YouTube presentation, whether it's an interview with an expert, like I used to do back in the day on R&T, or people have had me on to interview me. I plan on doing that on Wednesdays, Wednesday evenings. Sunday evenings, I plan to have every other Sunday evening a new course lecture. So those of you who have been patrons, I did a whole course on justification, uh, going through my book, The Just Shall Live by Faith. That was just massive. I think it's like 17 hours long, the course, just divided into, hour-long lectures, just uh, just a bountiful amount of information. Well, right now I'm going through my book on Melchizedek and the Last Supper. So I'm working through all the church fathers and the Melchizedekian theology that comes out in relation to the Last Supper. It's just a beautiful story. I mean, the whole story of the Melchizedekian typology in relation to the Eucharist, and it's just wonderful. It's built my faith. It's just made me so much more confident in the Catholic understanding of the sacrifice of the Mass. And today I was a couple days ago. I listened to a well-known Lutheran theologian, Dr. Jordan Cooper, who I have a lot of respect for. He's a very sincere, very thorough man in his scholarship. But he did a show on what does the Eucharistic sacrifice mean. Is it a propitiatory sacrifice, sort of a mystical representation of Christ, his sacrifice on the cross, or is it something else? And I thought to myself, wow, I'm going through the patristic exposition of Melchizedek and how that relates to the real presence and what kind of sacrifice occurs on the altar of the Christian church. And it's just amazing how the Catholic view is just so outstanding. I mean, it's how many fingers am I holding up clear? It's that clear. So those of you who are really interested in that subject, you'll really like the course on Melchizedek. I plan on going through some of my other books after Melchizedek. So some people really want to go through the papacy book. So that's a possibility next. Excuse me. And yeah, that's basically it. You know, some of my articles that I want to write, some videos I want to do, um, relate to the current crisis on the church. So, you know, those of you in the YouTube community, you've seen I've already posted some things on like the German bishops and different things. You saw the latest two YouTube presentations. One of them is diagnosing the problem of the Catholic Church. It should say beginning to diagnose because it's just scratching the surface. But I harp on basic Christian ideas and how that exposes the problems of what's going on today in the Catholic Church. The latest one I did was on Amoris Laetitia Explained. I wanted to do that. I have been wanting to do that for years because it's been a subject of so much contention and ongoing contention. And I just kind of wanted to show how clear um, an interpretation we've received as confirmed by Pope Francis, and because there's been a lot of ideas circulating throughout the internet on it, and I just thought it was important to really go through the document. So if you're really interested in Amoris Laetitia, what it is, go check that out. It's free for everybody on YouTube. But I want to make some videos addressing like the recent opening for the blessing of homosexual couples and the incorporation of transgenders into church membership and into functions as witness for certain sacraments. Um, I also have some top priority questions that I'm trying to answer. So Dan, one of my patrons, I haven't forgot about you. I have your list of questions on top priority, so that should come out on for patrons shortly. The last thing I want to say is that if you're not a patron, um, but you do want to buy my courses on justification and Pope Honorius. Of course, many courses are going to be added in the future, but for right now, on my website ericybarra.com, the top right, if you go to courses, you'll see two courses starting now all the way to the end of the year. I have a 25% discount for anybody who wants to buy the courses. So, all right, well, that's basically it. I can go on and on with a number of things, but I need to stop myself. I wanted this to be a short video. So thank you guys for listening. Again, this is what you have access to on Classical Christian Thought Patreon and what you can look forward to here on the channel. Oh, yeah, I can say that I have a forthcoming interview with a medievalist theologian on Genesis, on the Glossa Ordinaria, and I'll leave that for a surprise announcement soon. It's going to be this month. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, God bless you, and we'll see you next time.